What is going on, Diablo 2 fans? Dabrunski here. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the Bear Sorceress. Now, this character has to be the most unique Diablo 2 build. It requires an insane amount of wealth and ridiculous pre-buff gear. It's almost, to an extent, annoying to play all the gear swapping. I literally have a 100 by 100 pluggy cube stash page of pre-buff gear to try and get the most out of this character. But like all my previous build videos, timestamps will be in the description below. So if you guys want to bounce back and forth between the attributes, the skill tree, gear, or gameplay, they're there for you guys to use, so please take advantage of them. And I think you guys are going to be surprised at how well this character does mini Ubers, and then kind of also surprised at how much it kind of struggles in Uber Tristram against Uber Mephisto. But we will talk about a workaround. But quick reminder that I often optimize and play around with these characters live on Twitch. Link for my Twitch channel is of course in the description below, twitch/Dabrunski125. So if you guys hit me up with a follow there, I'd really appreciate it. But guys, hope you enjoy this video. Let's jump in. There's really three key overall points that I want to cover about the Bear Sorceress, and it's really just related to kind of Uber farming in general. The first is the pre-buff gear. I did just mention this, how I have a 100 by 100 stash page of an insane amount of pre-buff gear. This is really only needed if you're trying to do Uber Tristram. If you're just messing around with the Bear Sorceress for fun, like farming chaos or even bail runs or anything like that, the only thing you need is Beast and then an offhand weapon, something like maybe a Grizz Caddy or a Shielded Faceted Phase Blade. Make sure you guys check the IS breakpoints, that's very important, which tying into my second point is weapon choice. You do use Beast to transform into a Werebear, but it's not going to be your ideal weapon for attacking. Now, I have farmed keys using Beast on the main hand just because you're literally one-swatting everything on player 7 anyways, but you attack super slow, and that is because the majority of your IS frames are determined from the weapon IS only, so you want to try and use a weapon that actually has a lot of individual increased attack speed. So again, like I just mentioned, the two most common choices is either Grizz Caddy with Shale Runes and an IS Jewel, or a Phase Blade with, again, Shale Runes and an IS Jewel and a Facet. So make sure you guys check out the increased attack speed calculator so that you're hitting the proper IS breakpoint when you're in Werebear form. And the final point is that Uber Mephisto is the biggest pain in the butt with this Sorceress, and that is because he has such a high level lightning resistance that you don't do anything in terms of lightning damage, and the majority of your damage source comes from lightning. You have very low physical damage. Now, you do have about 5,000 fire damage, but then he has a very high fire resistance anyways, and there's no way you can keep an Infinity Mercenary alive when you're doing Uber Tristram, Mephisto specifically. So you want to try and work through kind of a different way of taking him down. Now, what I found personally was stacking a lot of Crushing Blows seems to work very well. So I actually pull off Dual Dream for Uber Mephisto specifically, and then I replace my shield with Sanctuary for a lot of resistance, my helmet with an G-Face, and then I swap out the body armor. Instead of Chains of Honor, I use Duress. So that gives me 75% Crushing Blow with Goblin Toes, and that's what I found to be kind of the most effective way to deal with Uber Mephisto specifically. But everything else dies pretty quickly, so it's a really interesting build. Mini Ubers, super easy. Uber Mephisto, not so much. So as far as the attribute distribution goes, I kind of tried to take a more balanced approach with this Bear Sorceress. It might look like I have a lot of additional plus strength, but remember, there's a lot of gear swapping. So Chains of Honor, T-Gods, I have a 220 Caster Amulet with 20 strength, plus Beast. There is just a lot of additional strength on items, and when I take them on or take them off, I want to make sure I have enough strength everywhere else to use the rest of my gear. So that's the reason why I have, technically it's 219, it's not because I have a lot of additional plus strength. For dexterity, I have 136. This is just so I have the freedom to use in the future a Shield Lightning Facet Phase Blade if I want to. Currently I'm using the Grizz Caddy, but again, more points into dexterity isn't really a bad thing because it's more attack rating and a better chance of hitting Ubers, because there's nothing worse than just staring down Uber Mephisto, swinging at him wildly, constantly missing and not proccing life tap. So it's up to you. You could run bare dexterity requirement, or you can invest more to try and boost your attack rating. It's totally up to you. Energy, I have nothing invested, and then for vitality, I have all my remaining points are put there. So 421 life, or almost 1,300 life before battle orders. And then I have 75 fire, 71 cold, 75 lightning, and 71 poison res. So it's a pretty decent res cap. I do proc Fade and use a couple other small charms to boost my lightning res a little bit higher for Uber Mephisto. But for regular key farming or the minion Ubers, That's a pretty solid resistance cap. The skill tree investment for a Bear Sorceress is very simple. You're just maximizing all of the passive buffs for a Sorceress, then transforming into Werebear using Beast, and then switching out your weapon. So for the cold skill tree, I completely maxed out Frozen Armor. Now you could go the route of maxing out Shiver Armor, although I wanted a couple extra points for Energy Shield for a little bit extra tankiness. Shiver Armor is more defense, it's up to you, you can go either route, but Frozen Armor saves me 3 additional skill points to place elsewhere. And then for the fire skill tree, I just have 1 hard point into Firebolt, 1 into Fireball, and then I maxed Warmth, maxed Enchant, and maxed Fire Mastery. Enchant at level 28 is only 800 second duration and 1300 fire damage, but at level 50 it's actually 5000 fire damage, and I think it's like 1400 seconds, so it lasts like 20 minutes. So it's a very, very powerful skill. And then for the lightning skill tree, I have 1 hard point into Charge Bolt, 1 into Lightning, 1 into Chain Lightning, and 1 into Teleport. That's just to unlock Teleport, and then I completely max Lightning Mastery. I put 1 hard point in Energy Shield, and then all of my remaining points I put into Telekinesis, which is actually only 3 hard points. It's level 18, but it's 3 hard points, and that's just because it boosts the efficiency of Energy Shield. I don't think Energy Shield is actually mandatory. When I did my first Uber run on Twitch with the Bear Sorceress, I did it without. But when you're transforming into bear form and you're just attacking normally, you're not using any mana. So I don't think it hurts to have an additional Energy Shield supplement, because I mean, if you have like 800 mana, you got to chew through that before you get to your health, and just makes you a little bit more tanky. So the gear for the Bear Sorceress, it's very interesting. I'm going to kind of talk about some of my reasonings and what choices I used, but the build basically centers around these 3 key pieces. So you're using Dual Dream, you want to stack the Holy Shock auras, and then boost it with your Lightning Mastery, boost the overall damage output, and then you use the Rumored Beast because it gives you the ability to transform into a Werebear. There is no Bear Sorceress without these 3 pieces, so yes, it's very expensive. 2 rune words that are Io, Jaw, and Pull, and then Bertur, Mal, Lum. For the body armor, I have a Faceted Viper Magi. This is basically just for the 30 FCR because I teleport on the offhand, and I want to have that 105 FCR breakpoint just for a little bit extra fluidity when I'm doing the mini Ubers, and then also key farming. You could rock something like Chains of Honor and sacrifice an FCR breakpoint. 63 is fine, but let's be honest, 105 is just way nicer than 63. And then for the amulet, I have a 220, 23 to strength caster amulet. Again, this is how I get that 105 FCR breakpoint. Then I have Gore Riders for Crushing Blow, Deadly Strike, and Open Wounds. Raven Frost for Cannot Be Frozen. I have this miscellaneous FCR attack rating, life stolen per hit, life, mana, all res ring. Now, the FCR is useless on this ring, but I like this ring in particular because of the life, mana, all res, and attack rating. It's just a nice complement. And then I have Arachnid's Mesh for the +1 to all skills and 20 FCR, as well as Drax. This is just for life tap, makes life a lot easier in Uber Tristram. Although one of the big issues with this build is that you'll find that the Confuse proc, when struck on Dream, often overrides life tap on Drax. So that's why I do a little bit of gear swapping, which I'll show you guys in the cube for Uber Mephisto. But on the offhand, I have a 564 CTA and then a 35 FCR Spirit. So 35 FCR, 20, 30, plus the 20 on this Arachnid's Mesh. That's how I get my 105 FCR just for a faster teleport. The inventory is a Source Torch and an Annie. So this is an 1820 Annie with an 1820 Source Torch. And then I have all lightning skillers here. And then for the small charms, I have different assorted plus life resistance small charms. So 12 to life, 9 lightning res, and they're just different assorted ones and a couple all res. Now, a lot of people are going to say in the comment section below, use a 299 lightning damage small charm. Well, 2 things. One is those are next to impossible to find in single player. And second, I want to make sure I have really good resistance, at least 75 for doing mini Ubers. And then I want to make sure I have capped lightning res for Uber Mephisto. If I was rocking Chains of Honor, I could rock some of those lightning damage small charms, but I would have to put on these all res charms just to deal with Mephisto's Uber Conviction. So it's kind of a catch-22. I mean, I personally like these supplemental charms instead of the lightning damage, because I already have 64k. It's not like I really need more damage. And then in the cube here, I have a Griswold's Caduceus. This is the weapon that I swap to after I shift into Werebear form, just so that I can attack a little bit quicker. And then my mercenary is an Act 2 Nightmare Holy Freeze Merc, just to kind of give me a little bit of crowd control when I'm farming the mini Ubers. And then he has Infinity, Fortitude, and then a Chammed V-Gaze. This is a 20 DR Chammed V-Gaze. Infinity is really nice because it lowers the defense of the mini Ubers and the Ubers themselves, and it also significantly boosts my lightning damage with the Conviction Aura. The only problem is it's not possible to keep him alive when you're doing Uber Mephisto. That's kind of the only problem, is really Uber Mephisto, and I'll show you guys that in the gameplay. The last thing to show off is my pre-buff gear here before I do an example Uber run. Again, there is an insane amount of gear here. It's just, it is what it is if you really want to maximize the output of a Bear Sorceress. So I have a full inventory of fire skillers here. So this is pre-buff for my enchant, and I have this +4 to enchant orb. This isn't perfect. I mean, a +6 orb would actually be better, but it's best I can get. I have a 3 to fire skills circlet, and then I have Mage Fist, and I have a 3 to enchant Ormus Robes, and then I have 2 SOJs that I equipped. Here they are. So I throw on 2 SOJs, Mage Fist, 3 to enchant Ormus Robes, this enchant orb, and then I swap out all the lightning skillers for fire skillers, and then I cast enchant. That's how I get a level 50 enchant. And then I swap back all of my fire skillers for lightning skillers, and then I have treachery for pre-buff for Uber Mephisto, and then Uber Tristram. I have Chains of Honor for additional res, and then I have Sanctuary and G-Face, and I have Duress. I use this little combo here to try and get more Crushing Blow for Uber Mephisto specifically, because he's not taking any lightning damage, and it's very frustrating when you're hardly doing anything to him, and then you're overriding life tap with the Confuse proc. So I like to use this combination here just to get more Crushing Blow. And then of course I have this Memory Staff for a higher energy shield before I do the whole Uber run. So just way too much pre-buff gear. And then I guess I should mention I have a Dwarf Star Ring for Fire Absorb for Uber Diablo, and then I have a Wisp Projector Ring for Lightning Absorb for Uber Mephisto. So this is what you need to do to have a Sorceress take on Ubers doing melee damage. I did plan on skipping all of the pre-buff portion, but I feel like it just does a good job illustrating how much work actually goes into making this character viable. So if you guys want to, you can skip ahead, of course, but I'm just going to show off everything that it takes. So the very first thing to do is you want to go to Frigid and buff up with Battle Orders Battle Command just to get an extra skill. And then once that's out of the way, I do a little swap here. I throw on my memory just to get, oops, already making mistakes. So I want to throw on the Shaco and the 2 SOJs. That just gives me an extra skill, and then Chains of Honor. So there we go. Do it again. I have a level 29 energy shield that has 84% absorb, and it lasts 1,824 seconds. So now that's done. We got to do the process of setting ourselves up to buff enchant. I hate that opposite looking shield thing. So I have the 3 to fire skills, enchant, 4 to enchant orb. Everything else stays the same with the SOJs. I just need to swap out all of these skillers. So if I did it correctly, they should all be fire. Yes. So that gives me a level 50 enchant, 1,320-second duration, and almost 5k damage. So I'll buff myself up and my mercenary. And then I want to kind of switch to everything that I'm going to use for the actual run. So I have my FCR ring here. Put on my Raven Frost. Going to use my Faceted Viper Magi. Want my CTA back for Battle Orders and Battle Command. And then I want to use Dual Dream. So Dual Dream and Beast. Viper Magi, Arachnid's Mesh. My rings that I need. And then Drax for Life Tap. And I have all of these skillers need to go back to being lightning. So this should all be lightning if done correctly. Yes, so we're good to go now. Now I've already opened the portals. The only thing I'm going to do here is make sure I'm fully stocked up on full rejuves, because despite being so powerful and having life tap, I'm still going to need quite a few, especially for Uber Tristram since we have a minion mod now. So we're all completely buffed up. Go back to Frigids again, just to buff up my Battle Orders and Battle Command. Hit myself up with Shiver Armor, and then we'll do Lilith last to try and keep the Mercenary alive, so I guess we'll warm up with Forgotten Sands. Now my favorite thing about this build is just being able to teleport 105 FCR. So we find Duriel. We definitely want to try and lure him out. Oh, we got energy shield problems there. So shapeshift into bear form and then switch to the Grizz Caddy. Now if I don't get thrown into hit recovery, which doesn't look like it, boom. He's dead before he even knows what to do. Then you gotta switch back to Beast again to get out of shapeshifting form. So we'll do Israel next. Now I did not know this, but apparently you can't override a higher enchant with a weaker enchant. So if you slip up and accidentally recast enchant again over your level 50 or your pre-buff, it's not that big a deal. Okay, so same idea again, just shapeshift into werebear form, then switch to Grizz Caddy, go back in. Now it's a good thing these guys are a pain in the butt. You have to rely on your mercenary just because their immunities, they're immune to fire and lightning, and you do hardly any fizz damage. Here's Izuil. Like, oh, this character's so much fun. It's just, wait till you see Uber Tristram though. It slows down quite a bit. So last thing to do is Lilith. Now you really want to be careful here that the harpies don't damage you, because even with how like crazy my damage is, we still want to lure her properly and preferably by herself if we can get a good spawn. Maybe I should go back up here. The biggest thing is just to try and avoid amp damage. It's going to ruin anybody's day. Try and get rid of the harpies. Okay, here's Lilith. She's got Fanaticism Aura, so that's really not good. And I'm being hit with harpies. Okay, so that wasn't like the best example, but she got roasted anyways. You just really want to make sure that you're not amp damage and like other supporting auras there. Like giving her Fanaticism is a little bit not a good idea. That's the best way to put it. It's not a good idea. Now I want to show you guys some of the pre-buff for Uber Mephisto. So we put on Treachery for the pre-buff. And then we'll use T-Gods, and then I switch out this one ring here for Wisp Projector. Now I'll go heal up. Oh yeah, I also put on Mara's too, because I don't need the FCR anymore. So Lilith's Poison's rocking me pretty good. I just lost the Mercenary. I should have talked to Mala first.
Yes.
The Merc will actually stay alive against Diablo and Bale. It's just not so much for Uber Mephisto. So I'm going to proc Fade from Treachery, and then I'll drop this cube here, and I will put 2 additional Lightning Small Charms where they have plus life. So I'll be going in against Uber Mephisto with basically completely capped lightning res even under his conviction aura. And then I will, for Uber Mephisto, I'm going to try and separate him, pull him on his own. Oh, there's Fade proc, and then I'll try and do Diablo and Bale on their own. So I will do that in like as a sorceress, just teleporting around, try and separate them the best that I can.
Hello.
It's a mistake that I did when I was streaming on Twitch for the first time. I was trying to pull them in bear form, where I think it's a little bit easier to pull them as a sorceress. But we'll put on Chains of Honor. Everything else should be good to go. We drop this belt here, put on these 2 small charms. So I have 331 lightning res, which under Mephisto's Conviction Aura will still put me at 85 lightning res. And then I do have the T-Gods and the Wisp Projector for the Absorb. But Mephisto is still tough because you're going to be overriding that... you're going to be overriding your life tap proc with Confuse, and you just hardly do any damage. So it's Very important to kind of emphasize that Uber Mephisto is the problem here. And I will hit him up with enchant, not myself. But yeah, let's hope for a clean pull here. Try and get Uber Mephisto right in the corner. Clean pull. This is an Uber minion mod as well. There's Mephisto. No, looks like... I can try and pull just Mephisto. Try and pull him way up here in the corner. Just because he's there on his own, I'm just going to do the Mephisto gear swap. So we're going to switch out the Dream for G-Face. Oops, that's the wrong one. With Sanctuary in replacement of Dream, just because I don't want that Confused proc to override. And then I'm going to switch out Chains of Honor for Duress. This is just going to give me higher Crushing Blow, because my lightning damage won't do anything to him. Because he has ridiculous lightning res. So just try and get him on his own. Try and proc life tap. Oh, Crushing Blow and just be on point with full regives. Let's get a lower resistance. Or sorry, let's get life tap proc. Come on, life tap proc. There we go. Just try and keep whittling him down with Crushing Blow, because again, I'm just doing a little bit of fire damage and then Crushing Blow and a little bit of Fizz. His lightning is just doing nothing to him. But he looks like he's going to go down. Okay, sweet. Now I'm going to go back and use, or switch back to the dual Dream setup. And then I'll just use... I guess I'll use the Viper Magi because I don't need to worry about overcapping the resistance, because my lane damage will actually work again really well. And I'll just resurrect the Mercenary. And I'll buff him up again. Because having the Conviction Aura is going to help me hit, and it's also going to significantly boost my elemental damage. So everything's pre-buffed. Shapeshift. Griswold, we're back to the dual Dream setup. I actually don't even need T-Gods anymore. I'll use a Rax. And then I'll switch out the Wisp just for Dwarf Star. A little bit of Fire Absorb for Diablo. Now these guys should go down pretty quick, unless I get swarmed by minions where I can't actually focus on Diablo. Okay, so Bale's up there. I think Diablo's just down here. So you can just see how much quicker. Well, the Pit Lords, yeah, Pit Lords make things difficult because I can't focus on Diablo, but... Okay, he's dead. You see how the Confused proc went off? That can cause a lot of issues with Uber Mephisto. Now we just focus on Bale. And Bale is done. There you go. Uber Tristram with the Bear Sorceress. We'll identify this torch. So I'll pull my torch off. You can see the difference there between trying to do Uber Mephisto and then trying to do Diablo and Bale, just because the Mercenary can stay alive, the Conviction Aura, and then having the insane amount of lightning damage. It's just... they don't really have anything for you. Yes. And all that work for 17 to 10 garbage Sorceress Torch. Well guys, there you have it. That wraps up everything they wanted to showcase for the Bear Sorceress taking on Uber Tristram. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to let me know in the comment section below if you guys think I got anything completely wrong. I am relatively new to the character, although I do understand the premise, so suggestions are always welcome. And as always, if you guys could throw a like on this video, share it, and even consider subscribing if you're new to my channel. I post new weekly content on YouTube, and I stream twice a week on Twitch, so a follow on Twitch and a sub on YouTube would be amazing. Other than that, guys, hope you have a fan-frickin-tastic day, and I'll catch you on my next video or live stream. Peace out.